In this video, we'll reveal the true power of salt as a weapon of spiritual warfare. We'll speak clearly and simply so that everyone can understand how to use salt in its pure form, correctly and with purpose. Stay with us until the end, because powerful revelations are coming, and you'll never see this element the same way again. Jesus said, "You are the salt of the earth." But why exactly did he use this metaphor? What depth lies behind those words? Today you'll find out. Salt is not just seasoning. It's a divine creation with a specific, eternal purpose. Just as water gives life and fire consumes, salt has the authority to preserve, purify, and transform. Since Genesis, God has shown that everything He created has a spiritual meaning, including the elements of the earth. Throughout the Bible, salt repeatedly appears as a symbol of covenant, purification, and justice. In Leviticus, every offering had to be salted. In Chronicles, the kingdom of David was established under a covenant of salt, showing that salt represents a perpetual promise. And in 2 Kings, the prophet Elisha used salt to heal the waters of a city, freeing it from death and barrenness. Many have abandoned the spiritual use of salt, confused by its misuse in dark rituals. But rejecting the power of salt because of its corruption in occult practices is like handing over one of God's weapons to the enemy. Salt doesn't belong to the devil. It is a creation of God, a tool for spiritual battle. Just as we use anointed oil in services without hesitation, we must reclaim the right understanding of salt. It's obedience to God's purpose that activates the power of what He created. Salt is holy, pure, and consecrated when used with faith and reverence. The story of Lot's wife, turned into a pillar of salt, shows that even divine judgment can be expressed through this element. In Deuteronomy, sulfur and salt are used to destroy sinful lands. And in Zephaniah, God declares that Israel's enemies will become like salt pits, places of eternal desolation. The Bible also shows that salt was used to purify money brought to the altar. That money could have passed through sinful hands before reaching God's house. Even today, some churches still pray over tithes and offerings with salt, following the biblical instruction of purification. To use salt with reverence, buy a pack of salt exclusively for that purpose. Use a new container and dedicate it to the Lord. This consecrated salt should never be used for cooking. It belongs to God. Use salt to purify your home, your neighborhood, your church. Spread it while praying and declaring the truth of God. Cast out every spirit of revenge, witchcraft, and idolatry. Use salt with spiritual authority to break generational curses and liberate your family. Apply it over your belly while praying for deliverance from inherited iniquities. Salt is also a symbol of loyalty and eternal friendship in Eastern cultures. To eat salt with someone means forming an unbreakable covenant. God chose this symbol to represent His eternal alliance with us. Making a covenant with salt means making a commitment of loyalty and honor to the Lord. The prophets used simple elements in prophetic acts: staffs, cloaks, water, oil, and salt. Not because these objects had power on their own, but because they were used with faith as extensions of obedience to God. Even Jesus, when healing a blind man, used mud made from spit and dirt. He showed that the physical world, when united with the spiritual, becomes a channel for miracles. But be careful, salt, like any sacred element, must be used with discernment. Just as the bronze serpent made by Moses was later worshipped wrongly, salt can also be corrupted if we lose sight of its true purpose, to glorify God. Don't worship the tool. Honor the Creator. The Valley of Salt, where David and Amaziah defeated thousands of enemies, represents the place where God's covenant was manifested in victory. You can win too, but you have to fight. Many Christians today just pray and wait, but they forget that real faith requires action. God has already won the war, but each of us must fight our own battle. Don't be afraid if the enemy tries to use salt against you. If you are consecrated to God, no curse will have power over your life. But if you are walking away from His ways, you will be vulnerable. Spiritual authority comes from a life of surrender and holiness. So pray, fast, seek holiness. Live as a true child of God. Use salt as a weapon of both war and peace. In times of battle, be like David, go to the valley of salt and fight for your blessing. If this video spoke to your heart, share it with others. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave your comment with faith and respect. May God bless you and strengthen you in your spiritual warfare. Until next.